the point is that I did an interview with CJ. Okay, I have just enormous respect for CJ, and I did an interview with him on his book and all the meetups that he's been doing. And the thing that remained with me was that he held up this book, Design Way, 4 times during the interview. So I said, what is this? Because I have so much respect for him, and I had always thought of him as that Buckminster Fuller is the core of his ideas. But clearly, I could see that this book was important. So, okay, so I got the book and started reading it, and this is like, it's been 3 days, and I'm rushing through it. I'm about 75% of the way through. It is a profound concept. What I was trying to do with Mondays was that we're looking at the East and the West. Okay, we're systematically trying to capture what East brings and what West brings. I think we're doing a fantastic job with Dao De Jing. Meetups on Tuesdays are just incredible. Okay, East has certain strengths and West has certain strengths. Charlie put it very beautifully. West is extroverted, focused primarily on the outside world, uses language, and is transforming. It's all about dominating and transforming nature. East is Yang. East is Yin. It is all about accepting nature, using intuition rather than language, and more inner focused. You need both of them. So we are doing that, the inner part, the Yin part, the intuitive part, the metaphysical part, with metaphysical in the sense the consciousness part of how we relate to nature as such, with Dao De Jing. So the question was, my idea was to do a whole series of Western works, but I found something stunning, that this folks' idea, Harold Nelson's idea of design, actually captures the essence of the West. It's a profound idea. If you just understand this idea, it's a very, very deep idea. What is design? Design is you understanding, taking everything from your senses, organizing it, figuring out where you need to go, what you need to be doing in order to live, and designing and implementing that using all the data of the senses, all the inductive ability, and actually transforming life. All of this process, and doing that as a continual basis. The way I summarize it, man is a designing animal. Designing is a better distinguishing characteristic to separate man than rational, because rational doesn't capture a whole bunch of things about us, that we are intuitive, that we transform our world, our environment as a way of living. Design capture, we are future oriented. These are all the points that we learned from Jacob Bronowski in The Ascent of Man. All of those are captured in the concept of design, as Harold Nelson puts it. Okay, design, again, Roger, when he talks about Jordan Peterson's idea, he said, empty the word of the meaning that you held and actually let's try to put it together. You have to do the same thing with the concept of design. His concept, Harold Nelson's concept of design, is this concept. And that entire book is about what design is, how you can be a designer. It doesn't matter what area, whether you're speaking a sentence, whether you're interacting with a person, whether you're building software, everything is design. The way he puts it is that when fish talk to each other, they say, what is water? Because they are in water, they can't. We live in design. That is what culture, people generally call culture. That's all design. And that is what this book is about. Now, we have some tremendous assets. So it is the most ambitious project that we have ever done, okay? The scale of it. At the same time, we have some real strong assets. Firstly, a lot of the themes that we have talked about, like the intuitive and rational that we talked about in Carl Jung, he holds. The yin and yang dance, that's what he talks about. Order and chaos, he talks about that too. The distinction between oral and written, and how do you use both of those, kind of fully embodied oral presentation and written digital, he incorporates that. So he's actually building on many OODA loops of this continuous design. You keep designing things, you test it, and you keep on modifying it. He has that. So it brings together many of the ideas that we have studied, focusing on the core idea of the West. So if you want to really understand Western civilization and its unique strengths as compared to East, this is a great thing. So I'm going to start this series on Mondays, starting next Monday, on the design way. I'm going to start, again, it's a very large project. I want people, regardless of their level of knowledge, regardless of how much they choose to put in it, to benefit from it. So each meetup is going to be accessible to any newcomer. At the same time, each meetup is going to be extremely valuable for somebody who has been studying it for many years. That's my standard all the time for all the meetups. You can see for here, there were people who were very, very familiar with the poem. Some people had just read it. And I think everybody got something from, something deep from it. It so happens that it's a very simple equation. The more you put in, the more you get. So if you actually choose to read the book, think about it, you will get 10 times or 100 times the value of anybody who's just doing it more lightly. So, and I'm looking, so we are going to do many things. So the other big asset that we have is CJ. Okay, CJ has done for Thinking Society, I think 20 to 25 meetups. And all of those he has done a lot of writing for, all of that is available. Maritza has, shared with me one amazing website, which captures the core concepts of this. There is a short video of 30 minutes of Harold Nelson talking about the core of the idea. We're going to start very slowly. Next Monday, we're going to be just talking about that 30-minute video and what is design. Get that concept right. Then I'm working with Maritza to identify the core concepts. And I'm hoping that Joe also would join us to talk about, identify the core concepts across the book. And I'm going to identify, I don't think there are more than 20. It's probably closer to maybe 10 concepts that you really need to understand. CJ warned me that he found it very difficult to communicate the ideas. I found the book to be very easy to read because I think I already have the pieces. And I think people in this meetup have the pieces. The reason most people find it difficult, it is about integration of reason and emotion and how the dance plays. You have to see that yin yang are natural elements that go between each other. And you don't see contradictions between them, but complementarity. They are contraries, but not contradictories, being able to go between them. If you can do that, if you can do with fixedness of design and need for it to be updated continuously, depending on changing functions. This is Louis Sullivan the other part is the person who has had greatest impact on me is Louis Sullivan. He's also an architect. And I was telling Maritza, basically, Louis Sullivan and Harold Nelson are basically talking about the same thing. Terminology is different. Louis Sullivan is far more beautiful, far more poetic at doing that. This guy is far more systematic at doing that, but both are aiming at the same thing. So they actually complement each other. So that is going to be the biggest integration that we see. And if we actually succeed in doing that, the beauty of the design way will be magnified maybe fivefold, and the rigorousness underlying rigorous presentation of Louis Sullivan's ideas can be improved at least twice or maybe even 5 times. Okay, so that connection is what I'm hoping to achieve. So it's a very ambitious project, but I want to do it again. We are designing that. We are designing this way of approaching such a ambitious goal in a community. That's what we're trying to do, because I have found that I will learn the most the more people are engaged in this pursuit. So I'm inviting all of you to come, especially I'm going to reach out to people who are in the thinking society, because CJ has been talking about these meetups for all this time. So we'll get some of these people who have been studying it for at least 4 or 5 years. And I'm going to keep reaching out to people, and I encourage any kind of collaboration. So please, write to me, but through Meetup, through email, whatever you want, and let's see what we can do together. Currently, I've just planned simple things. First, we are going to, because I always like to do soft launches, because I want to get more people excited about it. I want more people to acquire the book and start reading it. I'm going to come up with I've discussed this with CJ, and we have come up with a reading plan, which is not the order of the book. It is very difficult to read it in that order. There is a reading plan, which is going to be much more easier way of reading the book by jumping through its parts in a different order than they are presented, because his purpose, his audience was mostly designers and academics, whereas this is a general audience. There is a different way of doing that. In addition to that, we are going to keep summarizing it, just like we did for Bucky's work, just like we did for other works. We are going to try to present it in far more simpler way, in a way which is far more understandable. We should be able to do what Rudyard Kipling does with his words, at least a little bit, maybe 10%, so that it speaks both to emotion and reason at the same time. So that's what I'm hoping to do. So please join us on Mondays for this. And if you want to participate, I wholeheartedly welcome everybody wants to participate. I will brainstorm with you one-on-one to figure out what we can do, how we can do this, and let's do something great. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. We'll see you soon.